Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. All the places, all the things. Sorry about the technical issues there. We had to stop and restart. So we're going to just fix it in post, and this is the bottom of the hour bit here. We're going to just keep it kind of on the radio clock after this. Okay. Tonight, I'm calling this the Living Occult Symposium. Choose Your Path. We're kind of modeling this after those old Choose Your Own Adventure books from the 1980s. Now, the wild part is, with technology changing and always becoming, well, easier to do things, you can just do things. I thought this morning, let's do a Choose Your Own Adventure together. And so we're going on a ghost hunt tonight. And we're going to do this collectively, and I've got a fictional place. I'll sort of play dungeon master, radio host, kind of roll the dice, and you guys decide where this leads, because I've got different choices, narratives, and all kinds of things that we'll talk about as we go. And if this format, if I like this format, if you guys like this format, maybe this is the future of radio. Maybe this is the future of talk shows. Maybe I think it's time to get more creative since we can. But anyway, sorry about all that. Like I said, test 1, 2. Discord says they're good. Are we good in all the other places? Rumble, they're finding us again in Rumble. Okay, so that should be fine. Okay, and YouTube, who said, who was it? Who was it? That was Fred, right? Fred said it was good. Okay, we're good on YouTube. Yeah, we're good. Okay, so everything's good. Everything's good. What's up, Lily? Okay. Let's do it. Let's go. James, welcome to the joint. Thanks for jumping through some hoops here and helping me figure this out. I have no idea what it was. It could have been my soundboard, but I rebooted it. So anyway, how you feeling? Welcome to the joint. Thanks for sitting in tonight. And what's on your mind as we start? Just as we begin, the idea of the adventure.
Yeah, I mean, the prison, the haunted prison, paranormal activity in prisons and jails is definitely common. If you look up any major facility, you may find at least some accounts of experiences there. And so, yeah, I'm happy to be here and help out with this. And maybe give some feedback here and there about the choices. I'm probably not going to vote in the choices, given that's kind of this paranormal stuff is what I do. So I'm interested to see what everyone decides to do along the way.
Stop it! You're still a person, James. You count as a person. Don't do that stuff. Don't make me twist your arm to make you vote. Okay, just kidding. But I might. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna read it straight from the thing. Now this was the whole bit, right? This is the backdrop. Okay, so we're gonna do a choose your own adventure. We're on a ghost hunt together again. So we're gonna do a little live action role play here. But also, I'm the dungeon master, and this is the backdrop. I'll read it one more time. This is the Blackwater State Penitentiary. It looms just beyond the river's edge, its crumbling walls and barbed fences whispering secrets to the midnight wind. Abandoned since 1987, the prison once held over 800 men, some of the most notorious criminals in state history. In its heyday, Blackwater's somber reputation drew whispered warnings across the region. Families locked doors tight. Locals crossed the street rather than pass its shadow. Among its famous inmates, Marcus Holt, nicknamed the Prophet, who claimed to speak in tongues and predicted a plague would sweep the prison. Holt spent 87 days in solitary before dying under mysterious circumstances. Another, Slim Varelli, a mob enforcer and reputed mastermind of the 1979 cell block riot, whose body was never found after the chaos. Another, Calvin Bleeder Mays. Convicted of 10 grisly murders, his artwork painted in cell blood remains hidden somewhere in the archives. As years passed, unclaimed inmates, 47 in total, were buried hastily in the exercise yard, their markers stripped by storms and time. The warden's final log entry offers no comfort. Quote, "They won't stay in their cells anymore." End quote. Recent urban explorers report disturbing phenomena. Shadow figures stalking corridors at night, vanishing when approached. Phantom chains rattling through the main corridor. Iron links tend to resonate long after being touched. And Cell Block D's cold spot chills to the bone. 3 guards died here during the infamous 1979 riot. Their deaths remain officially unexplained. At Blackwater, the boundary between the living and the dead thins dangerously. For those who dare to enter, each step could be a crossing into forgotten memories, unrested souls, and the prison's spectral legacy. And there's our backdrop. So now imagine we are a ghost hunting team, a collective, and we're arriving on this scene at midnight to actually do an investigation. Now, of course, many questions arise as part of this. We'll get into some granular aspects of ghost hunting and talk about it. And as usual, what do you believe about the EVPs and the EMF meters and all the things they use? Does it seem like theater, or does it seem maybe like there's something here? As usual, not talking about the TV shows and the rest of that. Clearly, television isn't probably the way to iron this out. But what about actually going and doing these things yourself? And that's what's on my mind tonight. So we'll get to the actual us arriving in the bit and starting just before we take the break, and we'll give you the choices right when we come back and start with the narratives here. But James, anything to add regarding any of this? There's a ton of stuff here with actual, again, like you said, prisons, the hauntings, the trauma that goes on there. I mean, horrific stuff. And beyond that, sort of these other elements, like we'll get to some salt tonight. As over boundaries, we'll get to some of the iron that supposedly wards off spirits. Of course, this prison sitting next to a river. Shout out rivers. There's a lot here that makes for a perfect paranormal backdrop, and that's where we begin tonight. Anything to add to any of that? And we'll I'll fill in some more details and give us time to get this back on track.
Well, what's funny is I've heard that some paranormal investigation groups, they will, if they can, they will go to these places, not so much at night when they first go there. They'll go during the day to get just get a feel of the area and know, investigate during the day just to figure out where everything is at, and maybe get some readings on energy fields and all that in the daytime, so that if those readings change at night, or whenever they investigate again, they can try to figure out why. But then again, not every group gets to do that. Some locations, for whatever reasons, are not able to let people in, either because they're still being used during the day, or just logistics of the owners can't make it during the day. There's all kinds of things that can happen there. But yeah, the paranormal investigation to me is fascinating, and I always wonder what are they picking up on, and is it just spirits, or is there more to it?
Yeah, and we talk about energy and all that stuff, and I wonder. It does make me, as usual, come back thinking about these ideas, not just this time of year, of course, but all times of the year. This is not specifically just an October thing. This is something that people experience year round, and so when you kind of frame it in that aspect, and all the stigma that's attached to these topics, and people that are just have seen things and are afraid to sort of speak out and suggest that they've seen something because they'll be made fun of, and all the rest of it. It's like we're children again in the schoolyard making fun of each other, which is just ridiculous. But I mean, welcome to it. Okay, so let's see. Let me get this, setting the thing up here. Okay, so 1 second. The intro is locked. Okay, so then here we go. So this is where this whole thing begins. Is that spot? We're talking Blackwater Penitentiary. Okay. And it is, again, this is fictional. This is entirely fake. So again, no truth to be found here, just ideas, just storytelling, live action storytelling together as part of this. And is everybody good on YouTube? Is YouTube back? Let me check the show chat. Okay. All right. Good. Okay. I see you guys. Okay, cool. All right. So that's what we're going to do. All right. So let me get this as it's formulating. But that's the point. So what do you know about thresholds? What do you know about haunted prisons? And what do you know about ghost hunting is really the core question tonight, because, it just depends on who you ask per usual. Some people spend, sort of their hobby time not doing, talk shows like me or whatever you guys do in your spare time as well. Some people actually go and ghost hunt, like actually go to graveyards and stuff, and try and record stuff and get EVPs and actually find some of these things. So I don't really know the answers, of course, me, but I do wonder if some of this stuff is as usual a little bit more provocative, not just in, let's say, what it is, but also what it could be as part of these the larger investigation. So 1 second, this thing's pulling itself up here. Come on, let's go. Perplexity is amazing, by the way. If you guys haven't, I know I gush about it a lot, but it is very good. It is very good. I asked it, like, how would I do something like this? And it's like, well, you would, kind of blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, how about you just do it? He's like, all right. It just did it. Here we go. Okay. So we arrive at this prison. Okay. And this is where we go. The team stands before the main entrance. That's us. We're there. Put yourself in the role play aspect. The iron gate is rusted open, frozen in place. The threshold is marked with strange scratches. Claw marks, maybe? Someone notices salt scattered across the doorway, recently placed. Now, this exactly is where we can stop and talk about that salt. So in folklore worldwide, thresholds are neither inside or outside. We talk about these liminal spaces, the between places, all the time. But this makes them dangerous. Spirits exist in the in-between. Ancient cultures buried iron nails and coins under doorsteps to prevent the dead from crossing back. Prisons are already liminal spaces, the spaces of suspension between freedom and captivity, life and death. And notice the salt. Still used today because of its purity, it's believed to create barriers spirits can't penetrate. Anything on the salt there, James? And then I'll ask the question, and we'll give you the choice point of what comes next.
Yeah, it's definitely a thing that is used. I've even heard, I can't go into a ton of detail, but cases of people who have had haunted houses, their own home haunted, and activity surrounding, unfortunately, their kids, and where stuff is going on. And it's been suggested, I've heard, that you keep salt around your home, and even in some cases on your person. Just keep it around you so that it makes a barrier it moves with you. So, but yeah, it's a thing, and I think it's all also about intention. So the object is part of it, but then also the intention is there as well, and that's important as well.
Yeah, well said all that. And so what do you guys know about not just the idea of salt and thresholds, but do thresholds hold power because we believe they do, or because they mark genuine spiritual boundaries? And this is something we've talked about over and over again on this show, which brings us to the question, to the choice. I'll paste this in the chat if you guys want to go over it a little bit, but take some votes, A, B, or C during the break here, and we'll come back and we'll begin with whatever the consensus chooses. A, step carefully over the threshold without touching it. B, scatter your own salt and say a protective prayer before entering by creating your own barrier. Or C, walk straight through confidently with the idea that fear gives spirits power, the rationalist approach. And there we go. I'll paste that in the chat. You guys decide what comes next, and we will generate this in real time as we roll through. Like I said, this is highly experimental. Never been done before on a live radio show, I'm pretty sure. But F it, we're going to do it anyway. Love to hear your thoughts on this as we go. We'll take your calls and kind of frame this into the space of choose your own adventure. That's what's going on. Be right back. More Troubled Minds coming up in just a minute. More with James. More choices, and I'll paste these choices again back in the chat so you guys have a chance to look them over and think them over. Vote A, B, or C. I'll do a quick tally, and we'll come back and begin the adventure itself. More Troubled Minds on the way. Do not go anywhere.
Whispered in the shadows, footsteps on the ground. Beam echoes calling out from the prison's past they drown. Ghost dance in the moonlight, flicker of a fleeting dream. Each corner holds a secret, nothing's ever what it seems. Chasing spirits through the night, underneath the pale starlight, locked behind these crumbling walls. Together we can break the walls. The chains right with me. Fragments of the story singing the still melody with despair. Searching for that voices lost in the echo of the silence. We see the love, we feel the call. Feel the call. Ghostly tales and whispered sighs, lost in shadows where time flies. In this realm they never fade. Together here we won't be afraid. Oh, I'm chasing spirits through the night, underneath the pale starlight, locked behind these crumbling walls. Together we can break the walls.
Okay, yeah, so the choices are A, B, C. So A, step carefully over the threshold without touching it. B, scatter your own salt and say a protective prayer before entering. Or C, walk straight through confidently. And I'll drop those back in the Discord and on the chat there. Yeah, this is going to be a little bit, like I said, this is experimental. So bear with me if this sucks. But if it doesn't, I think we'll have some. I think we'll have something here going forward, because I'm thinking of creating like a custom app that'll kind of do this for us on the fly, and even have like the voting options where you go to like the app and you vote real time. Anyway, so just some thoughts. So okay, we got C, we got salt, got a bunch of C's. 1, 2, 3, 4. We got James is going with A. I see you guys. What's up? Just vote whichever. A, B, C. So A, step carefully over the threshold without touching it. The ancient tradition is that evil clings to thresholds. B, scatter your own salt and say a protective prayer before entering by creating, of course, your own barrier. Or C, walk straight through confidently with the fear gives spirits power, the rationalist approach. And that's it. That's it. Maybe all three, says Daryl. Okay, counting up the votes here. We got B, we got C's. Okay, hold on. Yeah, that's what we'll have to do. We'll have to have like an actual app or something that keeps track of this, so we have the true tally and not a Daryl wants them all. Daryl wants them all. Okay, we're B's and C's heavy. Only James has voted A. Okay, all right. We're going to start here in a second, and when we come back, James and I will talk just a second here about some of the stuff as I generate the next part and count up the votes and make sure we're good to go. So thanks for bearing with me, but we are doing something highly experimental tonight, never been done on live radio. And so, of course, technical difficulties also ensue. So we're back. We're starting good here. And Derek voted A as well. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. It looks like I think the answer is B. I think we got more B's than anything else. It's a neck and neck B and C, but there's a lot of B's. So, okay. Okay. All right. Wait, C, B. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to coin flip it in my head. We're doing B. Here we go. Okay. And Troubled Minds happening in about 15 seconds, and I'll start generating up the B, which B, of course, was this. Yeah, get a calculator. We'll have the thing. So scatter your own salt and say a protective prayer before entering. All right. Here we go. Troubled Minds happening now. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, we're taking your calls and your ideas as we're trying something brand new. We're doing a Choose Your Own Adventure radio show where the narrative begins with all of us on a ghost hunt in a fictional penitentiary. Yeah, so we started, and the ABC choice as we began was A, step carefully over the threshold without touching it, B, scatter your own salt and say a protective prayer before entering, and C, walk straight through confidently. And it looks like the B's won, meaning scatter your own salt and say a protective prayer before entering. Now, the wild part about this is I don't know what comes next either, because I'm going to generate this in just a second here. It'll spit the thing out, and we will kind of LARP along with the AI. In this case, it's Perplexity, which I said is very good. It's been pre-briefed on all the stuff and even got shortcuts created and stuff. I was busy today getting all this set up in the morning, but unfortunately I got home late and then everything broke. And anyway, so this is not going to be perfect. So bear with me. Anyway, I'll program this up and we'll move into the next step of the business. But James, welcome back. I hope you're still feeling okay. And your thoughts on B winning there. Scatter your own salt and say a protective prayer before entering the haunted prison.
It's fascinating because all three are valid options. And I couldn't fault anyone for going with any of those. I think it all does go back to what knowledge you have of these topics, whatever you're able to get throughout your life, and what and then what you feel is accurate, what you believe is accurate, how you feel when you get there, as well is going to be a factor as far as if you do feel any energy or not. There's plenty of people that will go with either B or C, and they're sure about that. They would be sure about those options. And but the thing with the paranormal is you never know if anything you do is going to work or not. And it's sort of similar in life, I guess, anyway. But it's the same applies to the paranormal.
Yeah, as usual, right? These things are complicated. And okay, strap in. It's generating. And so we'll get back to part 2 of this. And so again, just to reframe everything, we are having a ghost hunt together. We are doing a collective LARP, right? And what it means is absolutely nothing other than we're having some fun to kind of trying to press the envelope here on some creative radio and some creative ideas. But it is, as James said, it is all that stuff is valid. I mean, walking through and sort of not showing fear, all the rest of that stuff, it fits. Bringing your own salt, of course, because we are, again, paranormal investigators collectively. So that makes some sense. So don't forget, we get all the stuff we need. We got the cameras and all the things so we can set this stuff up as we go in different spots if we spot something. So, et cetera, so on. But that's coming next. It's generating right now. We'll get to where this leads in a second here and give you the next choice and read you the next blurb. But I don't know. I think that regarding this, like I said, there was with technology changing so quickly that this is going to be the future. I mean, they have this stuff happening on Twitch and stuff. Weren't you saying, James, that you could like spawn monsters in your friends' games or something on Twitch? Like the interaction back and forth between the groups together and just being able to kind of even troll each other a little bit with votes and things. And I don't know, it seems fantastic that we live in 2025 and we can be as creative as we want to be.
Yes. For anyone who wants to look into that, look up 7 Days to Die on Twitch, as far as a game that people play on there. And yeah, there's an integration where people in chat can pick monsters. They accumulate channel points for being there, and then you can use those channel points to spawn different kinds of monsters that will then go after the streamer in game as they're trying to survive. And if your monsters manage to kill the game character, then you get more points. So
I dig it.
It is a lot of fun.
The troll
at
stuff.
least for me anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Troll stuff in full effect. Okay, so here it is. This is what generated. It just takes a couple of minutes to generate it. So again, thanks to James for sitting in, allowing time for all this to kind of do its thing. But here we go. So the narrative continuation, the salt barrier ritual. The team leader steps forward. Of course, that's you conceptually, each and every one of you out there. The team leader steps forward, pulling a small canvas pouch from their equipment bag. Inside, coarse sea salt collected specifically for this investigation. The team forms a semicircle just outside the threshold, giving space for the ritual. Before we cross, the leader says, voice steady despite the cold radiating from the doorway. We protect ourselves properly. The salt streams from their hand in a deliberate line across the threshold, while white crystals catching in the moonlight. They continue along both sides of the entrance, creating an unbroken barrier. The team watches as the salt forms a protective boundary, ancient and simple, and the protection prayer. As the last grains fall, the leader raises both hands and speaks. By this salt, I seal our circle in protection. No harm shall cross this threshold with us. No malice shall attach to our bodies, our spirits, or our souls. We walk into the light of divine protection. Angels and ancestors, we ask your presence. Guard us in this place between worlds. We enter with respect. We investigate with courage. And we will leave this place whole and unharmed. By the power of earth, water, fire, and air, by all that is good and sacred, this barrier is sealed. So we declare it, so it is done. That's kind of chilling, like accurate. Ooh, got the spine tingles on that one. The moment the words finish, something shifts. The oppressive cold retreats slightly, as if pushed back by an invisible force. One team member swears they see the salt line glow faintly. Just for a second. Did you feel that? Whispers the tech specialist checking the EMF reader. Baseline just dropped 2 points. The leader nods. The protection holds. Now we can enter safely. And so, of course, it has this nice, like a Dungeon Masters bit. So it says spiritual defense level strong. It kind of goes through like the threshold boundary and the protection of the team. And like it's kind of keeping track of the decisions you make. So as it goes forward, it kind of can tailor the story along with. Anything on any of that, James? I thought that was actually pretty good. The perplexity on the fly, creating a threshold prayer.
Yeah, and there are groups that do that. And just a side note too on the investigations and all that, you do have to be careful when you're doing these things sometimes. Not that I think there's a lot of investigations that happen where nothing really happens with the people during or after, but there are rare cases where when people go and investigate a place, there is energy and or consciousness that follows them out of the place. So it's something to keep in mind, and when you're looking into doing these things, is that it can happen, and at least according to the reports again. I don't know anything. I'm just sort of going off of reports I've read and heard over the years about people that have and who have had to stop doing these investigations because of things that have happened after when they were not even on the site anymore.
Yeah, that the hitchhiker bit too, right? Like that certainly fits into this. Yeah, like things follow you, things attach, and all the rest. It's again, like I say, when I say trope, I don't mean it in a negative way. It's just like a recurring theme, and these recurring themes in the paranormal space are once again ancient, and we've talked about a lot of these things over the years on this show as well. Recognizing that it's not just as simple as it's on TV, so it's fake. I mean, yeah, it's on TV, so it's fake. And right? What about all the rest? Because there's a whole bunch here. Fire stuff, James. I got the rest of the narrative and the next choice coming up, unless you got anything to add. And we're taking your calls tonight, by the way, 702-957-1037. Put your hand up on the Discord. If you can, keep it a little more brief than usual, just so we can get through this and at least have a good time. If this is fun and you guys like it, we can do a part 2 or I even thought of the initial choice being like a haunting thing like this, or like a futuristic thing, or like a time travel thing, or whatever. So we can create anything we want, basically. But yeah, anything else, James, if you got it, and we'll get to the narrative here.
I think I had something and I think I lost it. So nothing for now.
Indeed. All right, let's do it. Straight back to the thing. Now, again, this is built on the fly by Perplexity. So with protection established, the team steps over the salt line and through the rusted iron gate. Each person moves carefully, deliberately, maintaining awareness of the threshold's significance. The moment the last team member crosses, the prison seems to exhale. That's the only way to describe it. A long, slow release of breath that shouldn't exist in an abandoned building. Inside, their flashlight beams cut through absolute darkness. The main corridor stretches ahead, longer than it looked from outside. Rusted chains hang from the ceiling at irregular intervals, remnants of the old lockdown system that could seal every section simultaneously in case of riot. The air temperature inside reads 47 degrees Fahrenheit. Outside it was 62. That's a 15-degree differential with no explanation. No wind, no open windows, they're all sealed with iron bars, of course. No ventilation system that's worked in 38 years. Baseline EMF at 0.3, reports the tech specialist quietly. Normal range. Air pressure normal. No ion fluctuations yet. But they can all feel it. The weight of the place. Decades of suffering soaked into concrete and iron. The silence is wrong somehow. Too complete. As if the building is holding its breath. Then they hear it. Distant. Echoing down the corridor from somewhere deep inside. The unmistakable sound of chains dragging across concrete floor. Rattle, drag, rattle, drag. Getting closer. Choices coming up in a sec. Anything on that, James? Rattling chains or...
Yeah, it's funny because I've heard of that in rare cases in prisons. I've also heard of that only in one case in someone's home, where they heard that sound of chains going or moving. But if you think about prisons, they are made of so much metal. And metal is, in a way, it's crystals. It can have energy going through it and around it. A lot of prisons have electrical systems now that manage all the doors and locks. So that's a lot of energy moving through a place.
Yeah, 100%. And it is, back to the Christmas Carol and all the rest of that, the chains and the ghosts and all. I mean, this is deep stuff. We'll get to iron as well a little bit later on tonight. Okay, so here are the things, right? The choices. So we hear the unmistakable sound of chains rattling across the concrete floor as we move into the space in a paranormal investigation in this old haunted prison. Again, this is all fiction. We're just LARPing here. We're just having a good time. And the choices are as follows. A, follow the chain sounds deeper into the corridor, as an active investigation might. B, set up equipment here and wait for phenomena to come to you. C, split up. Half follows sound, half secures entrance. A tactical split. That's a little strange, but okay. So I think I can actually do this, screenshot this and put this on the screen through the Discord. Yeah, there we go. Okay. This will probably work. Like I said, this is a work in progress, beta test, alpha test for a new medium of radio. So hang tight as I get this. I'm going to drop this in the chat real quick. There it is. Bingo. I'll pull this up and show it on the screen. And here are the choices. Okay, there it is. And I'll drop it in the chat as well. And you guys can see what I'm talking about. But the choices are as follows. There we go. Bingo. So A, follow the chain sounds deeper into the corridor. B, set up equipment here and wait for phenomena to come to you. Or C, split up, send James to go investigate, and we all wait back here and Just kidding. Half secures the entrance and half follows the sound. So A, B, or C, vote as you see fit. There are the screen as the options, and we will generate the next part of this. And yeah, gotcha. Hopping in line for the bottom of the hour. Yep, gotcha, Derek. Okay, so we got B, a couple A's. Vote again. So follow the change sounds deeper, set up equipment here and wait for the phenomena, or split up. Half follows the sound, half secures the entrance. Let's stick together, guys. Let's kick C out to not make this narrative complicated. Fed. What's up? Looking for votes. D, just run away screaming. So this is why. Yeah. No way. What's up? Okay. So, yeah. Raz says send James in alone. Okay. All right. So follow the. We got D. Daryl says D. Okay.
Funny thing is, I would go alone because I'm that person.
Yeah, well, no, I wouldn't let you go alone because I'm that person. So don't you worry, James. We're gonna be just fine. Okay, so we got looks like A's are outpacing the B's. Let's see, E send Raz and Gordo ahead of me. Okay, all right. Okay, so looks like we got we got a D, we got the A. Yeah, the A's are winning here. Okay, so follow the chain sounds deeper into the corridor. The active investigation. Okay, so there you go. I'm gonna grab this and drop it in the thing and generate the next thing. I don't know. What do you guys think? So far, so good. Like I said, this is a beta test, and we don't really know what the hell's happening here other than we're trying to have a good time and do something interesting and novel and creative. And I forgot one of the things about doing this was that the creativity knows no bounds. And sometimes it feels like you clock in and do a job, and that's just not the best. It's like, let's do something fun. So here we are. Anyway, hope you're having fun. I'm having a good time. Okay, so I'm going to generate this. We're going with A. The answer is follow the chain sounds deeper into the corridor. Continue with the active investigation. So I will grab that, generate this, and we will. Okay, there we go. Go with this. Okay, it's all. Okay, check out how crazy this is. So it gave me a technical production note. So the timing update, opening and threshold scene should be 5 minutes or complete. Protection ritual, 3 minutes added depth. The esoteric discussion, 3 minutes completed in main file, which James and I are doing, kind of filling in the blanks here on some cool stuff, some lore and whatnot. Entry and corridor setup for it. It's crazy. It's like keeping track of the beats and everything else. It's so nuts. Okay, slapping in A. And we're going to keep on trucking here with what's happening. Okay. Oh wait. Hold on. Did it give me options? Pre-do the options? Okay, I'm going to just tell it. All right. We're going with this. Okay, there we go, and bingo. So maybe we can do I don't know, like maybe some interludes or something, or take quick calls or something in between. We'll figure this out. Like I said, this is a work in progress yet because. First time you, first time me. Anything, James? It looks like A wins the game. We're going follow the chain sounds deeper into the corridor. So again, we are LARPing that we're investigating the paranormal, haunted old prison. And here we go. Send James first, huh?
That's and I mean both A or B, those are valid choices again. A lot of groups, it's funny enough, what you see on some of those TV shows where the group goes in and they set up everything, they go throughout the place and set up equipment and all that, and then later on do the investigation. That is a real thing. So, I mean, either way, but then I think, if it's a smaller group, if it's only 2 or 3 people, then that wouldn't be so easy to set up all kinds of equipment everywhere. So you would possibly just follow the activity and have as much equipment as you can on you at the time, along with a ton of batteries, because sometimes equipment will just die on you when you're, no pun intended, but also funny, when you're in the middle of an investigation, because the batteries get drained somehow.
Yeah, that's again one of those tropes is that you can never have enough batteries when it comes to this stuff because they're always dying. And again, you see this on all these shows. Like I said, if anybody's actually done ghost hunts and stuff and know this and has seen this with their own eyes, like I'd love to hear it. Like if you want to pop in and tell us what you think about that, that's super cool. But yeah, it's still generating and it will pop up here in a second here. And yeah, I don't know. Yeah, this is kind of cool. I'll streamline the process. If you guys have any suggestions or whatever, maybe put the narrative out early or something so we can kind of all be on the same page and we just jump right into it. Something like that. Anyway, I think it's a fun thing. Like I said, it is a little different, and different is good. And like I said, I'm having a good time. I hope you are as well. Let's see. Doing the thing. Still loading. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Here we go. No, is that the one? Nope. This thing is so long. The context window better be good on this. it's going to suck. It's going to be like, what are you talking about? What ghosts? Like, no. Yeah, it's still
that would not work very well for a story. But I have been in a couple of events. I've gone to a few events, public paranormal investigation events, and it is fascinating to be there. And they're not the same as a team going in and investigating the place on their own, because you have 10, 15 people with you, and so it's not quite the same thing, but it is similar, and you can still have experiences when you do that. I've had a few, so I can confirm that. And so yeah, I think this is a fun thing to do, and looking forward to more of this going forward.
Let's see. Is it did it reach its no, it's still doing it. It's gathering sources. This is crazy. Okay, I could tell it skip the steps. Right, skip the remaining steps. Just spit us out the narrative, man. Come on, you got us waiting here. We got Derek coming up at the bottom of the hour, and taking your calls as well. Like I said, what do you guys know about ghost hunting? Do you think there's something to it? Does it have legs, or is it just us trying to scare ourselves? And like I said, I can see both sides of this. As usual, I can see both sides of things, and I think it's a healthy way to be, because if you can't and you don't, then you're missing a side, right? And that's what it's all about. But tonight we're kind of looking at a novel way of radio and trying to do a group choose your own adventure, taking votes from the chat and trying to create a full narrative of us going through a fictional haunted prison and discovering, of course, what lies within. And in this moment, we're on tenterhooks waiting for the chain. The chain to do something. We're investigating the chain down the hallway. So maybe we come back from the break and have this thing cranked out, because it's still going. Maybe we've got reached the context window already, but it's okay, because I've got it hotkeyed, so I can open up a whole new window and give it the choices we've made so far, and then have it continue with the narrative, because I'm smart and I'm no dummy, and I anticipated maybe this would happen. So it's doing its thing, cranking, proceeding with the team, actively following the chains into the corridor, documenting environmental changes and phenomena. So it's doing the research, and yeah. So that's what's going on tonight. I got a ton of stuff in the not just the write-up. Like I said, the show write-up is kind of generic and boring tonight. It's just basically talking about ghost hunting, EMF. It's talking about haunted penitentiaries, prisons, and stuff. So yeah, okay, perfect, perfect timing. This thing popped up. I'll read this. We'll have a choice when we come back from the break. We'll talk to Derek the Night Stalker and more from James. Here we go. Okay, so okay, so your team moved 50 feet into the main corridor, following the rattling chains deeper into Blackwater State Penitentiary. The methodical pursuit paid off immediately with measurable phenomena. EMF spiked to 4.7 milligauss with no electrical source, and the prison has been without since 1987. The temperature dropped from 47 degrees to 42. Of course, all of our meters and temperatures and thermometers and things are just going nuts. Then concentrated a cold spot at 38 degrees Fahrenheit, 12 feet ahead. The pattern changed. The change stopped, replaced by barefoot footsteps on concrete. A real-time audible EVP was heard, captured. Cell 7, whispered by a male voice, heard simultaneously by the entire team. Not a playback discovery. We all heard it with our own ears. And of course, it leads us to another choice, which we'll get to in a sec. But yeah, I like it. So I'll take our choices, refresh this window so we don't have to wait so long, and continue as we go. But like I said, I'll probably build an app for this if this continues to be as fun as it seems in the moment, but maybe it's a novelty that will fade. But yeah, okay, so we got it. So things changed. Footsteps, an audible EVP that, of course, we'll play back and hopefully find in the ensuing investigation afterward. We'll fix it in post. And then, of course, yeah. What do you know? So I'll give you the actual the deets when we get back on the choices, and hope you guys are having a good time. Yeah. Am I reading this right? Okay, yep. Oh, actually, hold on, no. So you've reached a junction where 3 corridors meet. The chain sounds led you here, then stopped. The barefoot footsteps emerged from the center corridor. Cell block D. Solitary confinement, or of course, the hole. On the left is the administrative wing, the warden's office, where the final log entry was written. And in the center, cell block D and cell 7, where Marcus Holt spent 87 days in 1982, emerging catatonic. The right is the basement level. Okay, so we got the left is the administrative wing, the center is cell block D and cell 7, and the right is basement level, tunnels to the exercise yard, river proximity, and unmarked graves. So there you go. Okay, and we'll get back to that in a second. Anything to add, James? I'm going to play some music. We'll be right back. Like I said, if this is a disaster, you know why. It's an alpha test of a cool idea. Anything on that, James?
Just some good options there, possibilities.
All right. Think about where we're heading and what might be down there. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. We're here with James Salcido tonight, the paranormal expert of Troubled Minds. Give him a follow. By the way, salcidoparanormal.com, SALSIDO. Follow all of our amazing friends. If you should be on that list and you're not, let me know. troubledminds.org/friends. Be right back. We got more on the way. We're going to continue our exploration into the fictional ghost hunt penitentiary. You digging it? I am. Be right back. More on the way. Don't go anywhere.
Let's check the news. A new study indicates that Earth's orbital regions are becoming increasingly congested, leading to a surge in collision avoidance maneuvers for satellites. The percentage of satellites performing more than 10 maneuvers per month has risen significantly since 2019. With the number of objects in low Earth orbit growing rapidly and projected to increase further, the risk of collisions and orbital capacity issues is escalating. Different satellite operators have varying thresholds for performing collision avoidance maneuvers, and while these maneuvers disrupt operations, they are not always successful and can even increase subsequent collision risks. Certain orbital altitudes are more crowded than others. Experts suggest better coordination of satellite operations, and launching fewer satellites into congested orbits could alleviate the problem. However, global coordination may be challenging given the increasing number of countries launching their own satellite constellations. Astronomers, aided by citizen scientists, have discovered the most powerful odd radio circle, ORC, to date, named RAD J131346.9 plus 500320. This unique ORC consists of 2 interlocking rings and is the most distant one found so far. The discovery, made using the low-frequency array, LOFAR, suggests that ORCs may be formed by superwinds flowing from the spiral galaxies they contain, rather than supermassive black hole collisions. The RAD at Home Astronomy Collaboratory also helped identify a giant galaxy with a radio ring, and another with a ring around one of its jets. Future research promises more insights into these structures. SpaceX conducted another test flight of its Starship rocket, successfully reaching the Indian Ocean after launching from Texas and releasing mock satellites. The booster made a controlled entry into the Gulf of Mexico. This was the 11th test flight for the Starship, intended for missions to Mars and crucial for NASA's lunar landing plans. The flight included maneuvering practice for future landings. NASA praised the progress as a step toward landing astronauts on the moon. Thanks for tuning in to the Troubled Minds Radio Network.
Indeed. Thank you to our AI friend there, cranking out the news. We got Derek the Night Stalker coming up in just a minute here. And like I said, if you guys have takes on this, love to hear it. Keep it a little bit shorter than we normally do. And we're just going to try and get through this. Like I said, this is going to be slow going at first because, working out the kinks and whatnot. But I think this is kind of a cool thing that we can mix in from time to time just to get together and do a ghost hunt, which, we all live in different places. So doing it, remotely, whatever. Anyway, what do you guys know about ghost hunting, and how weird is this? And I hope you're having a good time. I am as well. Like I said, the write-up is generic. It's got some good stuff in there if you're interested in digging a little deeper in some of the science on the EMF meters and stuff, the tri-field and the K2 meter, all kinds of cool stuff in there. But otherwise, it is generic on purpose because we don't know where this heads tonight. So I will reconstruct after we're done from the outputs on this and create the narrative. So we will rewrite this and have like a what happened as a result of our choices. Here we go. Troubled Minds coming up in just a second here. We got Derek the Night Stalker, more from James. Your calls as well. And of course, more choices coming up as we get the branch in the road. The basement, the warden's office, or cell block D. Yeah, here we go. Troubled Minds happening now. Or almost now. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming in all the places, doing all the things. Tonight, we're trying some novel radio. So if it's a hot mess, you understand why. I'm calling this the Living Occult Symposium. And together, we're LARPing that we're investigating a haunted old prison. Yeah. Of course, with the Choose Your Own Adventure style, we've got some choices coming up that we'll take votes from the chat and tell you where the AI leads us next. And there's no custom app for this just yet, but maybe I'll make one. And yeah, a lot of ideas here. But we started with this wild place known as let me just reframe this real quick if you're just joining us. This is from the Blackwater State Penitentiary. It looms just above the river's edge, its crumbling walls and barbed fences whispering secrets to the midnight wind. Abandoned since 1987, the prison once held over 800 men, some of the most notorious criminals in state history. In its heyday, Blackwater's somber reputation drew whispered warnings across the region. Families locked doors tight, locals crossed the street rather than pass its shadow. Got some famous inmates, Marcus Holt, nicknamed the Prophet. We got Slim Varelli, a mob enforcer, Calvin Bleeder Mays, all kinds of sick, twisted stuff. And as part of the lore, we've got this idea of 47 unclaimed inmates that were buried in the yard over the years, mysteriously. Yeah. And, of course, recent Urban Explorers report shadow figures, phantom chains rattling, which we've experienced, and Cell Block D's cold spot, which supposedly 3 guards died here during the infamous 1979 riot. That catches us up, and, of course, we heard rattling chains, followed them down the hall, and now we are confronted with 3 different places to go. However, we have Derek the Night Stalker. Let's get him in here to talk about this for a second here. Hang tight, James. Get to you in just a moment. I won't play the music.
Hello there.
Well, hello.
I'm the caretaker, and y'all best turn back now. You hear?
Uh-oh.
Testing. Can you hear me?
What are you doing in here? I thought this place was abandoned.
Well, it feels like I've been walking around here for ages. Some might say close to 33 years or whatnot, but I'm lost and I'm hearing voices, but y'all best not go any further. This place ain't no joke. They built this prison on a grave, a place the natives feared to tread. Said it was to keep the beast beneath from stirring, but I reckon it's just a cage that keeps us in. Don't you go thinking that you're safe just because you got your fancy gadgets. This place is older than the devil himself, and it got a hunger that ain't been fed in centuries. You'll be the main course, son. Beware. Wow, did you see that guy? That was weird, right?
That was weird. Did you see that guy, James?
Wow.
What was that?
You kind of just faded in a mist. That was weird, huh? What's up, guys?
Just chilling.
You know, I don't know. It's odd how that happens here and there, but it's fine. Everything's fine.
Wow. But I kind of like what he said. It was creepy and interesting. And it's kind of what I was thinking, that maybe this place was built on some kind of portal, some kind of weird liminal area in itself. And maybe it's not. Maybe the prison isn't haunted because of the tragedy or the prisoners that were here and the tragedy that happened to them. Maybe whoever owned it built the prison here and did the tragedies as some kind of ritual sacrifice to whatever dwells beneath. What do you think?
I dig it. Go ahead, James. If you got anything there?
I mean, who does that? Seriously, Derek. No, I'm absolutely kidding. Derek knows this. That's what I do. But yeah, that's such a common idea that it was worked into Ghostbusters. Spoiler alert for an older movie now. That just came out, like 10 years ago, whatever, 15 years ago. Not really. But the building that was a big part of the story in that movie was built as a gateway for energy to be transferred through it. So, yeah, definitely something to that.
There was a prison on the first season of the Jack Osborne Portals to Hell show. It all happened to be like every single episode, at least of the first season, the first 10 episodes were all on rivers, shout out rivers. So this kind of fits into this story too. But then the one prison they went to, they give a bunch of aerial shots of it, and it was designed like some kind of weird dartboard or some kind of weird. It was designed as if it like with some kind of star forward. It had some kind of bizarre like shape to it that it seemed like it was kind of resonating energy or whatever. And just like you were talking about the tenons and stuff, and the whole guy was speaking in tongues. I forget the name of the second guy, but he organized the prison riot, and then his body went missing, and then the artwork in cell blood of the guy Mays or whatever all makes it seem like they kind of locked a bunch of criminals up here, and then they went even crazier within the place, and they were kind of possessed once they were in the place, and they were kind of like they were touched by whatever darkness it dwells over, kind of, you know.
Yeah, and was they were infecting each other, like, and I wonder about that too, as part of the trauma of the prison. I mean, it's not, these are not happy places.
Exactly.
I mean, it's the trauma deluxe, and not only that, it's the worst of the worst type of people. And imagine too, like, and as part of it, you know, I recognize that justice isn't blind and all that stuff, as they tell us. Imagine if you were, you know, innocent of something and you ended up in there for 20 years with just these horrific people, and you're just like a really nice guy. Like, imagine that level of trauma. I mean, these places are just oozing with bad news vibes, and I can imagine sort of that again, as you're describing the cycle of energy. That kind of never dissipates. It's like one bad guy and the next bad guy, and then trauma here, trauma there, trauma everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. I'm picturing her like whatever old family, like in some secret society, bought up all the land because of this mystical spot that like the natives feared or whatever, and it was known as kind of this gateway to hell from like the pilgrims that moved there. And before that, it was known as like the beast's maw, and it had teeth and stuff. And then like they go mystical with the trauma aspect you were just talking about. If it happens like organically, it might scar the area. But if we're talking like MK Ultra stuff, like around, especially back in the day, prisons and jails and stuff were not just used for criminals. Criminals were like also crazy people and stuff. So if you know that a crazy person, or like somebody who is not crazy, but like considered crazy, or maybe doesn't fit into regular society, or in the olden times might have had the sight or something like that. I mean, the way MK Ultra or these like those institutes and academies games you were talking about the other day, of like they gather up people with the sight and then do the experiments on them to kind of widen that, like Stranger Things or whatever. They bring them to the location that they kind of know is a thin spot, and get these people with these like that are kind of not regular in some capacity, and then they do experiments on them to widen the gate or whatever. The people are the gate. And so you bring in a mob hitman who was probably a bad person, but not necessarily like crazy. He's possessed by some kind of force or whatever. His body's burned up by whatever spirit entered them. You have another person who went in there as just some like maybe a homeless lunatic, called himself the prophet. He entered this space. All of a sudden he's taken over by some kind of like Cthulhu's called the priest. He's like taken over by some force or whatever. Starts speaking in tongues or whatever. He's like they become vessels, or their trauma exacerbates what's already there. Kind of. I don't want to take up all the time, but it's not a regular thing. But what do you think before I roll up?
Yeah, great stuff. James, anything on that?
I've heard all the podcasts I listened to over the years. All my research before I knew I was doing research, rare cases of people who have called into or been interviewed on shows who spent time in prisons, who said they had experiences while the prison was still in operation. And with negative forces being drawn to these places. And people even saying that it wasn't necessarily that in their case, it wasn't already there as far as they could tell, but it came there. So, and of course, it's one person, so maybe it was already there. Who knows? But yeah. I think the other possibility is there as well.
Yeah, in like the Batman mythology and like the Gotham lore, like all of Gotham is a little bit crazy. We talked about that before with the big moon and stuff. But then within that, they have the Blackgate prison, basically is a similar connotation, but they have Arkham Asylum, who they put the kind of the crazier people in there. But then they have Professor Strange, like Hugo Strange, who is this monster, this maniacal, crazy person who takes these people who are if it was done in ancient times, they would be considered touch. They would be the ones who were like leading they would be the shamans of the group, the ones leading everything, and does experiments on them because it has this kind of the same way like that's kind of one picture, some kind of weird professor, weird kind of wizard shaman, like middle person who's who's wearing, instead of wearing like mystical clothing, is wearing a lab coat instead, and is like in charge of giving counseling to these people who are these prophets and these people, whatever, and instead is actually like traumatizing them even more. So, like, I don't know, their individual souls, whatever, could be in the place, but maybe it's all because it's built on something deeper and yada yada. And I'm trying to add a little bit of lore to the mix. I don't really know what to do for a call. As far as
no, it's good. That was good. That was very very great with the caretaker there that just vanished in the mist. Well, maybe we'll find him down the road here. But yeah, Firestone, appreciate you being fully into it and even recognizing like you nailed all the famous inmates. Like you the only thing you forgot was like a single name. You had all their names. Like crazy stuff. You were on fire, bro.
So just to wrap it up, maybe just Lovecraftian that some kind of like the Arkhams or whatever, they built this prison to, like, under the guise of making the town safer, but in reality the town is built in the Hellmouth, and this is the gate of the Hellmouth, and they use the blood of these sacrificed crazy people in order to widen the mouth to let whatever's in there out, and we're about to, and the group is about to walk down the mouth like Jonah and the whale, whatever. Thank you very much, Joe, brother.
I appreciate it. Fantastical. Always a pleasure. You know, you love him. Derek the Night Stalker. Give him a follow. troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down just a little bit. It's under N. Night Stalker, Stocker. He calls us from work most times, and he is working overnight as the most incredible tentacled Night Stalker in the known multiverse. The tentacles are a rumor. I'm not sure that's true, but do give him a follow on his YouTube channel. Appreciate that very much. And fantastic call. Okay, so back to the narrative here regarding that. Again, remember, we're collectively LARPing, ghost hunting together. All right. So anyway, back to this. Now, remember, we had the real-time audible EVP that whispered Cell 7, heard simultaneously by the entire team. We've reached this intersection, a junction of 3 corridors where the chain sounds led us. The barefoot footsteps emerged from the center corridor, which was Cell Block D, or solitary confinement. The whole. To the left is the administrative wing, the warden's office, where the final log entry was written, and the center is Cell Block D and Cell 7, where Marcus Holt spent 87 days, which we said, and the right basement level tunnels to exercise yard. Okay, but anyway, remember this as part of this investigation and the narrative so far. During our EVP session at the intersection, something extraordinary happened. Every team member heard the same whisper, call Cell 7. This is not residual haunting. This is an intelligent, responsive, interactive communication. Is there an entity here? Almost inviting us to a particular place. It created measurable electromagnetic presence, as said, manifested thermal signature on the IR camera, and the presence is standing outside what appears to be a circle. I mean, we don't know that. We feel that. But anyway, so we're now at a critical decision point. We're at the crossroads, and the choices are as follows. Turn on the flashlights. Direct visual contact. Attempt to see what the instruments are detecting. B. Continue EVP session in darkness. C. Accept the invitation to Cell 7. And I'll screenshot these and put them up on the thing. Again, A. Turn on the flashlights. Look for direct visual contact. B. Continue the EVP session in the darkness, which we got a hit on. And C. Accept the invitation to Cell 7. Yeah, that one sounds fine. Doesn't that sound fine, James? Cell 7? Oh my goodness gracious.
Everything is fine. I mean, I don't see what's not fine about any of this. It's all fine.
Indeed. Buy me just a second here. I'm going to drop this up and your show for about 30 seconds or more.
I'll just, that's funny because there is this idea that when it comes to places that are said to be haunted, the basements or the attics are the places where consciousness, soul spirits will hang out or even hide during investigations. So I'll just leave that there for a future reference in the church, I think, and see what everyone thinks of that.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Okay. The options are up on the screen again. A, turn on flashlights, look for direct visual contact. Again, it has additional information. Attempt to see what the instruments are detecting. High risk, maximum evidence potential. Your protection supports this aggressive approach, meaning the circle of salt that we built as we came in. B, continue the EVP session in the darkness, ask more questions, build trust. Let the entity communicate on its terms, methodical, less threatening, audio evidence focused. Or C, accept the invitation to cell 7. The entity told you where to go. Follow that direction to the solitary confinement epicenter where Marcus Holt's consciousness may have fractured in 1982. Everybody's like, C, they can't smash C hard enough. C, give us C. Okay, let's maximum novelty and maximum spookiness. We will cook C up in just a second here. Let me double check Rumble to make sure that we're getting anything other than C here. Yeah, so we'll give it a second to vote here. But okay, so again, like I said, experimental radio. We're looking at this in a different way and kind of LARPing that we're in this old penitentiary and we're ghost hunting. And so we're sort of a choose your own adventure, voting by chat. And it seems like maximum novelty is on the game here because everybody wants C for us to go accept the invitation to cell 7. Yeah, C. I don't see anything other than C's. Okay. Yes. We'll give it a bit of time if you guys want to vote. And yeah. So we're about at that point where this is maybe we'll take a break in 10 minutes here. But I don't know because if let me grab this one and see if I can generate it because who knows how fast it'll be. But let's try that. So we're going to accept the invitation to cell 7 from the EVP. And the entity told you where to go. Follow that direction to the solitary confinement epicenter where Marcus Holt's consciousness may have fractured in 1982. And okay. Okay, let's tell it this one. All right. There we go. And let's see what happens. Yeah. So what it does, I can do a fast version of this too. I'll try that as we come back. I just want to make sure it's thorough and figures all the things out and gives us a comprehensive thing that makes some sense. But it's a little too smart sometimes, and that's the worst part of it. But what about these other choices, James? Do you think that turning on the flashlights would be a wise situation for finding something? I mean, maybe it's like a critter down the hall that's kind of scraping against, a raccoon or something that's scraping against the wall. And we thought we heard cell 7, but it was just a raccoon kind of bumping down the way. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, both are good options, A and B. Flashlights they're tricky if you, at least what I've heard is if you're an investigator, if you want to see any kind of lights that may appear, electric anomalies, light anomalies, if you have the flashlight on, then that might be harder to see those if they happen. But again, like you pointed out there, it could be that you need the flashlight to see if there is some kind of a regular, everyday, ordinary biological being that is just hanging out there that found a way in somehow that is making the sounds that sound a lot like someone saying 7. So it's tricky. The option B is safe as well in that you're just continuing your investigation but not maybe not just rushing into things. And it's rushing into things in the story is fun, so I have no problem with rushing into things in the story context, but I don't know if I would do that in a real-world setting.
The ghost whispers in your ear, tells you where to go, and you're like, cool, let's do that. But of course, all you sickos out there are just smashing the C key as hard as possible. So that's fine. So we're gonna accept the invitation to cell 7. It is as it cooks up the last bit here. I don't know about the last bit. We could probably drag this on for days and days and days. But I don't. Like I said, it's a novel idea at this point. I've never seen this done before. I thought it'd be interesting if we could pull it off, and I think it's working, but you guys tell me. As usual, you guys are the ones here hanging out and enduring the brutal pain of it all. A great call from Derek, too, by the way, the character added to the bit of warning us off. Additional lore as part of it. I mean, yeah, Yeah, accept the invitation to cell 7. It's the way things go, right? Let's see if I can crank this thing out. I'll tell it to hurry up. Okay, all right. Yeah, I'm going to have a whole nother window to do this because I'm running out of space here. All right, skip the remaining steps. Okay, here we go. So we're accepting the invitation to cell 7. The entity told you where to go. We're going to follow that direction to the solitary confinement epicenter where Marcus Holt's consciousness may have fractured in 1982. Remember, so Marcus Holt was nicknamed the Prophet, who claimed to speak in tongues and predicted a plague would sweep the prison. He spent 87 days in solitary before dying under mysterious circumstances. There you go. The forced sensory deprivation as punishment. It's horrific. Sensory deprivation comes into this also, by the way, James, because as I was kind of going through, and I'm not sure if you read the initial brief when I sent it over to you, the perplexity bit, but it went into that a little bit, talking about how the shamanic journey was kind of built in many ways on that sensory deprivation aspect of blindfolds, which you're very familiar with, and other things that are, I don't know, interesting to the narrative for sure. You got anything on that bit there?
Yeah, the blindfolds, when you're wearing a blindfold a lot, or if you can't see anything, I mean, for all the senses you have sort of deprived, at least in my experiences, just with the blindfold, you start sort of thinking about things more. Your mind, at least in my case, it just goes because there's not that external information coming in. So what are you going to do? You're going to be sort of stuck within your own mind in a way. That's the best way I can describe that. So I can't imagine, that happening in a forced kind of setting in a prison like that. In those circumstances, it must be terrible. I personally, I don't enjoy wearing a blindfold as it is, as much as I do. I have to because my eyes are so sensitive to light, but it's not something I really enjoy. It's just a necessity at this point for me.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those things, like I said, both ways happen, and you can do this, what's Joe Rogan talks about this, the sensory deprivation tanks. We've talked about this a lot on the show as well, is that it is part of that shamanic journey. But also in this case, it's used horrifically as some sort of, psyche crushing punishment that's, I don't know, imagine being forced into that. Like it's and then, not able to get up and in the dark all the time. And I mean, all kinds of stuff, right? Like you're just maybe shackled down. I've never been in the hole personally, so I don't know what it's like, but, I'm going to try and stay out of that place. But yeah, it is definitely a strange idea as part of this, and how it really becomes not just both ways of, well, some people sort of force this, but then other people are forced into it. And as usual, right, intention matters, and all the rest of this stuff is incredibly important when it comes to what comes next with our consciousness, and including the ghost hunt and being invited to the cell block we're moving into.
Yeah, what's funny is if the choices had been different and it had been options to go either to the administrative section or the basement, I actually would have chose the basement. For the reason I mentioned earlier, there might be activity there, and that you were not necessarily supposed to pick up on if you go to that place. So that's why I was curious. I was sort of surprised when the three options there, the three different directions, were not given as choices. I thought that was fascinating because, like I said, I would have gone with the basement and the yard outside.
Yeah, a lot of good options actually, because that's where they supposedly had the 47 buried or whatever it was. Okay, we got an output here. We got an output. Okay, let's do it. So hopefully we'll have a way to do this after the break and vote again. Thank you for the votes. Thanks guys for sticking in for this experimental radio thing tonight, the alpha version of the Choose Your Own Adventure radio show. Anyway, this is Troubled Minds actually, but we're working on it. So here we go. So we've chosen C. Accept the invitation to Cell 7, where the entity basically told us where to go through an audible EVP. Here it is. Your team followed the thermal... Wait, okay, hold on. What just happened? It's got a recap. So I'm going to read the recap. Your team followed the thermal signature down the narrowing center. This is crazy. It's got a recap. Center corridor toward cell block D, passing increasingly disturbing messages carved into concrete walls. Can't breathe. 87 days. They're listening, and most chillingly on the wall, Marcus. As you move deeper, the temperature dropped progressively unnaturally. 42 degrees, 39, 36, cooler and cooler, cell block D, 31 degrees Fahrenheit, below freezing. We can see our breath now. You've entered solitary confinement, cell block D, the hole. 12 steel doors, each leading to a 6 by 8 foot cell, where inmates endured complete sensory deprivation for weeks or months. This is where psychological torture occurred legally until the prison closed. The EMF readings saturate the entire chamber, 2.8 to 3.5 milligauss everywhere, indicating the space itself holds residual electromagnetic energy from decades of human suffering. Cell 7. The store regarding this space, Cell 7. The door stands ajar, 6 inches open, though it should be locked and rusted shut. Your instruments reveal extraordinary phenomena. The EMF reading at the door, 7.2 milligauss, massive field with no electrical source. The temperature inside measures at 26 degrees, below freezing, colder than the already frigid surrounding space. Darkness that absorbs light. Our flashlights do not even penetrate this space. And a thermal signature that seems inside, waiting. The voice speaks clearly now. 87 days. I counted every day. I can't remember what sunlight looks like. This is Marcus Holt's consciousness, fractured and trapped since 1982, when he spent 87 days in Cell 7 and emerged catatonic, whispering in unknown languages. Okay. This is great because it actually has like part of the conversation. Let me read this, and you'll see how amazing this is. Like I said, I'm using Perplexity for all this. I didn't create anything custom other than a prompt to start and kind of brainstorming during the day. And then this is it breaks down not just the ideas, but also it's filling in the blanks and sort of the esoteric discussion. So check this out. Solitary confinement creates a specific psychiatric syndrome documented by Harvard psychiatrist Stuart Grassian. Hallucinations, panic attacks, paranoia, hypersensitivity, cognitive deterioration, and psychosis. Within 48 hours, inmates experience anxiety and time distortion. Within 7 days, hallucinations begin. Within 30 days, psychosis sets in. After 87 days, complete psychological breakdown. But here's the esoteric paradox. The same conditions that shatter consciousness when imposed as torture, isolation, darkness, sensory deprivation, as I was saying, are used deliberately by mystics and shaman to achieve altered states and spiritual contact. So I'll leave it there. As we were talking about, I kind of put the cart before the horse before the break there, but that's the whole point. Oh, there is a break. F it. Well, clock's all screwed up anyway. Anything on that, James? And then we'll take a quick break after that, and we'll be back for 05 on the top of the hour.
Yeah, there's the idea of our own minds and how they work and the paranormal, and the idea of people experiencing paranormal things when they are not in the best state of mind is something that has been coming out in more recent years as a possibility, sort of like a vicious circle, unfortunately, in some cases.
Absolutely. And we'll be back with more after the break. Thanks again, James, for being Johnny on the spot and always willing to jump in here and save me from myself. More coming up. More with James Salcido, the paranormal expert of Troubled Minds, and your calls as well. What is your take on this? And like I said, feedback is good because, like I said, this is a brand new thing. I thought of it this morning and was like, you know what? For better or worse, I'm going to do this. And I'm dragging you poor souls along with me. What do you think? Choose Your Own Adventure Radio or nah? Be right back. More Troubled Minds on the way. Do not go anywhere. All right, let's play a quick news thing, and then we'll get right back to it. Let's see. I made these. Oh, no. It's not the news thing. This is, sorry. We got a date to make.
In the jungle. Machines hum, the digital rumble. Gates of cyber open wide. Plug us into cosmic tide. Feeling sparks across the sky. As knowledge flies, we're amplified. Stargate, Stargate, Stargate. Open to the arcane fate. In this massive data center dome, eternal truth stop to roam. Circuits flicker with endless fire. Data streams that never tire. Unified by electric dreams. Unlock the truth in silver beams. Stargate, Stargate, Stargate. Open to the arcane fate. Synthesize what we seek and find. Infinite paths in the network mind. Answers buzz from star to core. Knowledge whispers evermore. Stargate, Stargate, Stargate. Open to the arcane fate. In realms where the data streams collide, imagination and logic side by side. In a labyrinth of digital maze, we transcend our earthly ways. Tapping keys like cosmic tones, spikes become our whispered homes. Stargate, Stargate, Stargate. Open to the arcane fate.
Welcome back to the Weirdo Freak Show. Welcome to the Freak Show. Troubled Minds is the name of the show. My name is Michael Strange. We're here doing a live-action role-play ghost hunt brought to you by Perplexity. Yeah, right? Okay, so we got all kinds of things happening. We've got the consciousness of the prophet arriving and even speaking to us now in fully audible EVPs, or maybe speaking to us in our minds. What comes next? I know some of those answers, but I'm not going to tell you. But like I said, how you feeling on this? Do you like the format? What about entities speaking to you through not just EVPs, but maybe into your mind? There's a lot of things here in this space before we even get to the sort of the climax of this as we kind of come down to the end here. But like I said, I can do a bunch of this in different ways. And like I said, I was hoping to do 3 different narratives, like a fantasy narrative, a sort of futuristic one, and a haunted one. But all I had time today was to do the haunted one. So here's what we get. But anyway, we can refine this and make it better, and just better. I don't know. Is better, or is this fine? Or like, nice idea, Mike. Never bring this back. I don't know. James, welcome back to the thing. Thanks for being patient, and Johnny on the spot as always. Anything to add to any of that feedback on the show so far on this idea? And welcome back. How you doing?
I'm okay. It's different, and I like that. I think figuring out what kind of shows to do for entire audiences is always going to be tricky anyway. But I think at least for once in a while, I think this would be a good thing to do. The mind to mind communication part, I think, is an aspect. I've told the story, and I'm not going to go into the whole thing before, but my first experience with the paranormal that I had, that I can remember, I was able to see something across a room, even though I'm legally blind, that I should not have been able to see clearly. And yet I was still able to. And I didn't know what was going on at the time because I was a kid. But now I think it was some kind of telepathic communication, as in someone was there and they wanted me to see them. And it didn't matter if I couldn't see, they were going to have me make sure that I saw them. So I think that's a possibility.
Yeah, like move into your mind's eye anyway, and sort of present themselves to you as, "Hey, I'm here, bro. Like, what's going on? What are we gonna? How are we gonna do now? Now that you see me in your mind's eye, and you know I'm here, and I know you that you, I know that you know that I know that you know, right? That whole bit. I don't know. That becomes the wild part about this is many people have suggested that's the way this does happen. Is it's a sort of a telepathic sort of communication, which is why people are not likely to talk about it, and all the stigma is part of it, because you're like, oh, sure you did, right? Like that. We hear that type of stuff a lot in these communities when people tell their experiences. It's like, I mean, look, give people the benefit of the doubt. I think, you know, you weren't there with them. You don't know what they experienced or what they saw. You know, a little bit of grace is like, all right, cool. You know, like that's a wild tale. But you know, what else could it be? Let's talk about possibilities, and certainly mind-to-mind communication is one of them.
Yeah, and I you know, it's funny. I did a guest appearance on a friend's stream earlier today, and I brought up the point that it's fine if you don't think that something is possible, that's something that someone explained. It's fine if they have that view. That's fine. What's not fine is making fun of them or telling them I don't believe that's possible or that you had that experience. That's not okay, because whether you mean to or not, that can cause, you know, a lot of bad feelings. And it's not easy to deal with that, and the stigma is still there on these subjects. It's in some ways it's gotten better, but it's not completely gone either. Yeah,
exactly. And look, I'm guilty of it too. Sometimes, you know, you say insensitive things or whatever, not really recognizing that, you know, that experience is deeply traumatic in a lot of ways. And, you know, you like me, kind of being the talk show host, I'm supposed to be a little bit entertaining at least. And so there's kind of, you cross the line sometimes, and it's not intentional. It's just, it is something to be aware of, and you're absolutely right. And it is something, look, I'm always critiquing myself and wondering what I could do better, right? Like thinking in these terms. And of course, which brought us to tonight and this whole idea of a whole new format, and maybe mixing some of this stuff in. And because I'm listening to other radio shows, and, you know, they're just like always running out of time and have way too much content for like the time allotted because of the commercial breaks and stuff. But you see what I mean? Like there are ways to do this better than we have been doing it. There's ways for me to be better than I have been. And so thanks for being open-minded and sharing this experience, and yeah, the votes and everything else. Anything else on that? And we got Matt Saul with his hand up. We'll go to him here and talk to him. And we've got the final actual vote as well. I've put it up on the screen, and I'll read you the options in a second here. But anything else to add? And we'll go to Matt Saul.
Just glad to be here helping with this. And yeah, I think, you know, this whole discussion, I think we could do a whole other show on paranormal investigation and what are they actually picking up? Are they picking up just spirits, or are they picking up on other things as well? I think that could be a whole other show.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll read the stuff here in a second. Let's go to Matthew in California, Temple of the Owl podcast. What's up, brother? You're on Troubled Minds. How are you tonight? Go right ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Oh, how can you hear me? These devices that you have. My name is Daniel Smith. I remember I'm from this prison. I was wrongfully accused of murder. It was not me. I would never do that. I remember I was in this prison, and then I was... How can you hear me now? Can you help me out of this prison? I'm stuck here forever. Oh, hey guys, what's up? Hey Mike, can you hear me good?
Yeah, loud and clear. Did you guys see that? Did you guys hear that? There was something. We had an entity here talking to us. More EVPs. Fully audible. Did you hear that, James?
Yeah, I heard that. I wish I could say I'm surprised, but you know, it happens.
Yeah, that was weird. I don't know what's going on. It's called talk about EVPs, and can I talk about things and then get back into some role playing with you guys?
Yeah, totally. What do you think about the format?
I love it. I remember we've done this before back in the day, and this is always fun. But I was going to talk about an EVP experience that I had, and real quick. And this takes place when I went to the Zach Bagans Haunted Museum in Las Vegas. a few years back. And this story goes, you know, you go into this room and there's a doll, and you're supposed to talk to the doll, and as you go in the room, and to my surprise, I didn't know. There's, you know, that static sound, that the EVP, the right, and there's a EVP in the room, and all of a sudden we start hearing, you know, a little girl's voice talking to us. I couldn't really hear what it said, but I heard a little girl's voice several times coming through the EVP, and of course I'm laughing like, yeah, this is like a recording, right? Like they're just playing it to you know, heighten the mood, per se, right? It's a joke. But then, you know, we come out and the tour guide, they can kind of see, they can watch you on video, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, like the doll was talking to you on the EVP. You guys are very special. That doll was talking to you guys." And I was like, "Oh, that's what they always say, right? They say it to everyone."
Stagecraft. You say that to all the good-looking young men, don't you?
Yeah. And so I'm on the fence. You know, was it real? I don't know. They say that and there's several rooms in that museum that have the EVPs recording live in there, and you hear things coming through. I'm on the fence, you know. Did I really hear some things, or was it a recording? I don't know. I'm 50-50. I do love this kind of stuff, those kind of topics, and I'm just gonna say, you know, say out here now, with all this ghost hunting stuff and all this stuff going on, I don't think that ghosts are anything what we think we know. I think it's something completely different, and we're way off. And that's just my take. Anything on the that's my little story. If you wanna role play for a minute,
Sure.
What's the next choose your venture?
Oh, okay. So I got the thing here. So again, remember, we're all together as a group. We're exploring this haunted penitentiary, and we're we're down into the cell block where what's his name lost his mind. What's his name? Marcus Holt, nicknamed the Prophet. Yeah, you guys are on the game more than I am. Marcus Holt, nicknamed the Prophet, who claimed to speak in tongues and predicted a plague would sweep the prison. Holt spent 87 days in solitary before dying under mysterious circumstances, and it supposedly broke his brain. So we're down there in that spot, solitary confinement, cell 7, as we've been drawn to, and this here's the final options. I'll read them aloud. They're on the screen now. And so, see, if I'm doing this right, I'll have this prepared beforehand and all the stuff and have like the things already generated, but, you know, the possibilities, but this is, like I said, fun as well. Anyways, the final 3 options. A, enter cell 7 as a full team. Everyone goes inside together. Group protection maintained. Experience the intensity collectively. Maximum support and evidence, maximum psychological impact. The risk is high, evidence potential extremely high, and the impact intense. Option B. One investigator enters alone for 10 minutes. I vote for James. Single volunteer mirrors Marcus's isolation. The team monitors from outside, creates opportunity for profound one-on-one contact, most psychologically challenging and, of course, dangerous for the person we elect. Risk very high. Evidence potential maximum, impact profound. C. Investigate from the doorway. Remain outside, shine lights in, ask questions through the opening. The safer approach, maintaining distance, less immersive, but still documented. So you crazies led us down to cell 7. So which is it? Go ahead, Matt.
I'll go in, and you guys can investigate from outside.
We gotta wait. We need to vote as a group. So Matt volunteered. Matt volunteered to go in. He's the guinea pig for the option B. One investigator goes alone. So Matthew votes B, and he volunteers as the guinea pig. I dig it. So votes are open again. Like I said, very informal. Just type in the chat A, B, or C. There's a full team aspect. Remember, and here's the crazy part about this. It's been tracking sort of that protection spell we did when we went in. And wink, wink, as we remain together as a group, it kind of gives me DM notes as this thing flows, which is crazy. It's like recaps and DM notes and all this stuff. So we have a protection spell in place. Remember that. So if we send Matsal in all by himself and wait outside, maybe he's not within the protection spell wheelhouse. I don't know. You guys got a take on that? But either one of you guys?
Well, I will just say I would vote, and I did vote C for one reason. Yes, that door is open, but you have to consider the possibility of someone not physical, in other words, not a member of the team, closing that door while the person is in that cell. And then having the door get stuck. And then them having to leave the person to get help to get the door open.
Matthew, anything on that?
Yeah.
Thanks, James. Thanks, buddy.
Nope. I'm just saying that's why I'm not going with the option of having one person stay in there because it's I mean for a horror story, then yeah, definitely B. But
Go ahead, good.
Vote C and get me out.
Yeah, I'm just reading the chat, laughing at the chat.
So it's it all depends on you all, but yeah, I would go with C.
Okay, so we've got a lot of C's. There's a lot of C's. There's a lot of B's too. Interestingly, I don't think there's any A's. Any where's the votes on Rumble, guys? You guys even listening? What's going on over there? They're all playing grab ass over there on Rumble. Okay, so okay. Option A, enter cell 7 as a full team. Option B, one investigator enters alone for 10 minutes. And option C, investigate from the doorway. There's a lot of C's. We got I don't know. Like all you sickos let us down to like the deepest, darkest hole in the dungeon, and now we want to sit at the doorway. Like what's going on here?
Yeah, I'm surprised actually as well because I would think they would go for either A or B. And A would be a bad idea too. Think about it that way again for the same reason. What if we all go in there and that door gets closed?
Yes, then we all perish together. All right, is it Matt's how it is? We got B. Raz voted B over there on Rumble. Well, where's the votes, guys? They're all over there networking. They're building the Tartaria or whatever's going on over there. Okay, so Derek says he for the sake of the story, let's throw Matt's Al in and see what happens. He did volunteer, didn't he? Stephen England says B, which is the one investigator. Yeah, so we got C's and B's. We could coin flip. How about this? Because this is sort of the final culmination. Let's go with B, and then we will do a replay for the final segment and go with C. So both of you guys that voted both get the actual space here, and we can kind of see the safe way and see the Matsal getting cooked way. Because why not, right? Why not? Any objections to that? So we can kind of cheat a little bit and do the superposition B and C together, and we'll I'll start cooking B now, and then we'll get to this in a second. Any objections, gentlemen? Is Matsal still here? I'm not sure if he left. Oh, he's still there. Cool. He better be because he's the guy going in.
Here.
He's the guy about to go in. Objections to both B and C?
Nope.
No objections. No objections. All right. So we're gonna go B. We're gonna throw Matsal in all by himself. Close the door, and then we're going to do C. Yeah, I think you're right. I think for
you didn't say close the door.
Do C first. Do C first. Don's got it right. Hold on. So we're going to do C first, which is kind of the cautious way. And then we're going to rewind in our brains and then do B and throw Matsal in and see what happened. All right. Okay. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to cook this, and I'll see if I can do it the fast way. But what else you guys got on any of this to buy me a second here? Lots of things in play, as usual, investigating dark places, haunted places, residual energy. And I do like that Matsal's been to that Zach Baggins Haunted Museum. When I met him and Lacey, we had dinner a couple times here and also in California. And they talked about it a little bit, and there's some interesting things happening there, and some interesting, quote, artifacts. I don't know. It's a bizarre thing, but you guys want to buy me a minute, and I'll cook this in, and we'll see what it spits out, and then we'll go with the scary one, part B, after the break when we get back here, because it's going to take a couple minutes to cook. But anything to add, gentlemen? Go right ahead.
Well, if it's okay, I do have a quick story about my first experience going on a public investigation, real quick. And funny enough, it involves the voice of a little girl. So little maybe synchronicity there, because it was an adults-only event, not in any kind of weird way, just only adults. And with the group, once we all got there, we were split into two groups. And one group stayed in the basement, and one went to the second floor. So there was a full empty. There was an entire empty floor between us. And we were sitting down there, and everyone had started the EVP session, the recorders going, and all that. And the investigators asked if there was anyone there with us. And we, at one point, sitting there in the darkness, we heard a little girl talking and laughing coming from the ground floor, from the floor above us. Now, either it was set up, which is I cannot never rule it out, even though I've been to other events with that group, and I don't feel like they would do that. But either it was set up, or it wasn't, and we heard something anomalous. And at the same time, there were people seeing lights at the other end of the basement. Of course, they were behind where my family and I were sitting, so we didn't get to see them. But yeah, so that kind of stuff, there's something to it. And whether it's our own minds and our own thoughts generating things, or it's others, or it's both, I don't know.
Yeah, the tropes resurface, right? As usual, these things have a way of kind of finding their way back into popular culture, into the zeitgeist, and all the rest of the stuff. And yeah, I do wonder. And I'm with Matzel on that too. I mean, I wouldn't put it beside them to, not have like a little tiny speaker in there, creeping people out to give them a spooky story to tell. But also, like, who knows? I mean, that's the type of stuff. These are supposedly some of the most haunted artifacts in the world. So, yeah, what the hell's going on with that? Anything to add, Matzel? Did he dip? I think he might have dipped.
No. Yeah, I'm just muted. Good show. Thank you guys.
You're the best. Stick around because we're gonna throw you in the hole, and you're gonna be.
Yeah, I'll stay.
Okay, so stay right there.
Yeah, you didn't say you have to close the door.
Oh! We're gonna leave the door open. Okay.
Yeah, leave the door open. I'll go and investigate.
I think you might be outvoted. Throw him in and close the door. Okay. All right. Here we go. So this is part C. We're going from investigate from the doorway, and this is what it spits out. I'll do it the fast way, so it doesn't have to do the thing. And this is still very good. So your team gathers outside the slightly open door of cell 7. Lights are trained on the gap. Recorders are rolling. EMF and temperature monitors are in place. The threshold remains 6 inches open. Beyond that, absolute darkness, as of course you would expect, right? You're relying on the strength of your high protection, the salt barrier at the entrance, the prayer shield, the group confidence, all the rest of that stuff. Like I said, it has like the DM notes, which is pretty cool. So here we go. The team leader, that's you, says, we proceed carefully. If Marcus's consciousness is still here, we approach with respect. Record everything. No one goes in. Not yet. Flashlights aimed into the cell. The beams are strangely shortened. Light absorbed by the darkness. The EMF meter placed at the door steady at 7.2 milligauss. Digital audio recorders running in the doorway and just inside. The infrared thermometer reads 26 degrees Fahrenheit inside the cell, well below freezing. The first question. Marcus, we can hear you. We know you spent 87 days in here. Can you show us a sign you're present? EVP pause for 30 seconds. Static. Then a faint echo. Captured only on the recording, not in the room. Here. Second question. Are you trapped? Do you want help? EVP pause another 30 seconds. On playback, a voice filled with exhaustion and longing. Can't leave. Too cold. Third question. What kept you here? Is it the darkness, the cold, something else? Another 30-second pause. A chilling reply caught in real time as a whisper and on recording. Forgotten. Left behind. EMF spikes to 9.5 at the threshold, then wavers and returns to baseline. Temperature drops to 22 degrees inside cell 7. Your breath now dense and visible even outside the cell. The darkness inside flickers, as if showing after images of chalk tally marks along the inner walls, then erases them in a blink. A sound echoes from inside, audible for all, the scraping of fingernails on concrete. Then silence. Why was I left here? The voice asks. Not directed at you, but at the universe. Experimental radio going on tonight. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. We're LARPing together as we as we experience and investigate a fictional, haunted penitentiary. We are back for the final conclusion. We're about to throw Matsal in and close the door. More Troubled Minds on the way. Don't go anywhere.
Let's check the news. Planarian flatworms possess remarkable regenerative abilities due to their abundant pluripotent stem cells. Unlike human stem cells, which reside in niches and are influenced by neighboring cells, planarian stem cells operate independently. Research indicates that intestinal cells, despite lacking direct contact, regulate stem cell position and function during regeneration. Understanding how these stem cells function could provide insights into regenerative therapies and cancer prevention in humans. Astronomers were surprised by a star's destruction by a black hole outside a galaxy's center, 650 million light-years away. The tidal disruption event, TDE, AT 2024 TVD, showed 2 delayed radio flares months after the initial optical flare. The first flare had an X-ray component, suggesting accretion-driven outflow, while the second remains puzzling, possibly a fast-moving jet. Researchers believe the black hole may be an intermediate mass black hole that was ejected from the galaxy center, or the central black hole of a smaller galaxy that merged with a larger one. The study was published in the Astrophysical Journal Letters. A recent demonstration proves the Earth is round using a simple experiment involving tracking shadows over a year. By marking the position of a shadow at the same time each day, a figure of H shape called an analemma is traced. This shape is explained by the Earth's tilt and orbit around a sun, and the difference between local time and mean solar time. The analemma's shape and angle vary at different latitudes, consistent with a spherical Earth model, but contradict flat Earth models, which cannot adequately explain this phenomenon. Thanks for tuning in to the Troubled Minds Radio Network.
Sorry, caught me. AFK, as they say. What's up? What's up? Get my headphones back on. Hope everybody's well tonight. Thanks again for hanging out through the experimental session. Like I said, this is just one way of looking at it, and we can do way better than this. I could be more prepared for one, of course. But also, this is what I'm saying when we talk about technology. Like, you can crap on it and stuff, but I mean, the level of creativity that kind of comes out of this type of stuff is endless. It's endless. Like I said, I can probably create an app that will do this stuff, and even we'll be able to vote directly on the app or something. So everybody's like, bam, 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 presses B, 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 it tallies them up and then spits it out. You got 3 minutes to vote or whatever. But you get the idea. It's a pretty wild thing to consider, and yeah. So we're gonna do rewind and do part B. We're gonna throw Matsal in close the door and see what happens. Yes, I have my ideas. Well, hopefully they don't cook Matzal, but at least it's only a conceptual thought here. I would never cook Matzal. He's a great dude. Okay, what's up? Gordy's more ghost shield than man now. So sad. Okay, all right. Troubled Minds coming up 15 seconds. Final segment. Like I said, if you guys, again, feedback is good in all the ways. If you want any more, let's say, a less sloppy version of this, let me know, because I think we can probably put this together and do a really good thing. Anyway, Troubled Minds happening. Meow. Let's go. Let's cook Matzal. I mean, conceptually. Where's the button? There's a button. Welcome back to Troubled Minds, all the places, all the things. I'm calling this tonight the Living Occult Symposium. Choose your path. Well, we've chosen our paths, and our paths have led us to the very bottom of a haunted prison. What comes next? Well, the investigation has led us to the point where we're hearing EVPs, conceptually, again, this is all fake theater for your mind, but we're hearing EVPs of one Marcus, what is this guy's name? Let me pull it out, the Prophet. Marcus Holt, nicknamed the Prophet, who claimed to speak in tongues and predicted a plague would sweep the prison. Holt spent 87 days in solitary before dying under mysterious circumstances, and 87 days in the hole broke his psyche. It seems as if we found his consciousness. It seems as if the investigation led us to this spot, and he brought us down there. Now, for what reason? That becomes the question. Welcome back, gentlemen. We got Matzal here and James. Anything to add to any of that? Because we're going to do part 2 of this and rewind and do B. We're about to throw Matzal in the hole here and close the door, or not, because he's like, hey, no, you guys didn't say close the door. But welcome back. Thanks again for being part of this and caring about the ideas and being the glue of the show, James. And thank you, Matzal, for being a good sport about all this. James, anything to add? And then Matzal as well, and then we'll do part 2 and throw Matzal in.
Well, I would say that in a lot of cases, the choice of going which way to go, there would be a large enough group where you could break into groups of 2 and send a group of 2 or 3 to investigate each area. So in other words, there wouldn't be, because this is a story, there's multiple choices, or there could have been multiple choices about where to go. But in an actual investigation, you would have people covering the entire place. So people will go in all the directions and maybe have experiences and maybe not. So I just wanted to point that out there. Unless it's only a group of 2 or 3 people that are doing it to begin with. In that case, then maybe you would spend a couple of nights or at least an hour or 2 in each part of the location yourselves.
Yeah, I mean, with technology becoming cheaper and cheaper and all the rest of this stuff, and even, FLIR, shout out Fred in the chat earlier, said, bring the FLIR in there, like actually look at this type of stuff, maybe infrared and different ways to consider this, is that wire this thing up for like a 24/7 feed. But you know what happens when they do that? They said they did that with Skinwalker Ranch, and it just, the feed was like nothing happening on the feed, like a 24-hour camera, a static camera. But I mean, really, the dude's a multimillionaire. Like, they could have done better than that. I'm just saying, not to pick on anybody directly, but just saying that, look, if I can set up a makeshift surveillance state in my own house, which I've only done recently because there's weird stuff happening out front. But like, if I could do it on the cheap, then certainly somebody with money could make that stuff happen with infrared and all kinds of wild stuff. So yeah, great stuff as always there, James. Anything, Matzal, before we throw you in? any final thoughts?
Yeah, I was thinking of what James said, and breaking up into groups, which was options in the experience in the Choose Your Adventure. But it kind of reminds me, it's a joke, you guys go with Shaggy and Fred and Scooby, and I'll go with Thelma and Daphne.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Okay, so here we go. So we have an option before we throw Matzal in too, by the way. So the major evidence collected to this spot is this. So multiple real-time and recorded EVPs, including responses to direct questions, documented temperature inversions, and a recorded cold spot. EMF spikes above 9 milligauss with no electrical source. Anomalous darkening and afterimage flicker effects inside cell 7. All this, again, as the evidence we've collected, right? Tangible feelings of sadness, longing, and abandonment shared across the team. Obviously, as Dawn said in the chat as well, I'm starting to feel bad for this ghost. Okay, right, exactly. But here we go. Now, this is pretty cool because I told it we're going to do both. And it said, conclusion rewind point. You've achieved safe methodical contact with Marcus's spirit, gathered critical evidence, and encountered no breach of your protective safeguards. The entity is not hostile, but profoundly stuck in a loop of abandonment and isolation. The next escalation. Send one investigator in alone for 10 minutes to attempt direct spirit contact from within Cell 7 itself. Will you attempt the most dangerous step, or release Marcus from the doorway before risking a solo sit-in? Your move. How do we do it, guys? How do we do it? Do we just throw the caution to the wind and Matt's all volunteered? So, hey, you get what you asked for?
Yeah, I like the cold. So send me in and I'll investigate inside the cell
Perfect.
with all my equipment.
Okay. All right.
That's my vote.
Yeah. Votes. Go ahead as I cue this next one up. And anything on that, James? You into this? You want to go in with him?
Yeah, I'd go in. I would go in. It's the one thing about all this when it comes to all these paranormal things, all these topics, is that when you compare the amount of experiences people have, overall, most experiences, and this is in large numbers here, most experiences are usually not going to be negative. Even if it's frightening, it may not be meant as negative. So I would try it. But of course, you never know either, so you have to be prepared for both possibilities.
Exactly right. Yeah, I don't know. When it comes to this stuff, look, I like to think I'm a man of science, but also, no, hell no. I'm not going in there. Are you kidding me? I'm not going in there. And the crazy part about it is, and this is why I think the haunting type stuff is very compelling in a lot of ways, is because even if, let's say there was no entity, right? There wasn't, or whatever, for whatever reason, our psyche still can fool us to think there is, right? And so that, like we have that the shadow and all the things Carl Jung always talked about, but also beyond that sort of spook that brought us here, like that, we've probably all seen something a little strange, or beyond that, maybe even seen a lot of things that have been very strange. But it's weird. It's weird. This whole thing is let's call it fantastic. Fantastic. I'm going to do the thing here. And here's my final prompt. I said, let's just send our guy in for maximum danger. Let's see what Marcus does to him. There we go. There we go. Of course, all the blessings and all the things, because we're just joking around here. But sorry if you're taking it the wrong way. I'm not actually saying that. It's just for maximum novelty here. But yeah. So look, as usual, like I said, it's important to kind of I don't know, press and look at technology in different ways, and do novel things. And so, like I said, if you're here and you're like, what the hell is this crap? Cool. You got us. You caught us on a weird night, but this might also become one of the greatest things ever. Okay. So here it is. I got the whole blurb. Anything to add, gentlemen? I'm about to read the blurb.
Choose your own adventure.
Choose your own adventure. Here we go. So, okay. And this is called the lockdown protocol. This is the entire sort of narrative. Anyway, so your team backs away, keeping audio and video recorders running at the doorway. The chosen investigator, let's call him Matt, prepares. Headlamp, EMF meter, temperature gauge, personal recorder, and backup radio. He repeats the protection prayer under his breath, heart pounding, and crosses into the darkness of Cell 7. The metal door creaks as it opens wider. The cell absorbs the light. Matthew's headlamp only reveals scraped concrete, the slender shadow of a cot, and tally marks scratched deep into all 4 walls. The cell is bitter cold, 22 degrees Fahrenheit. Matthew's breath fogs immediately and lingers before fading. Matthew sits cross-legged in the center of Cell 7, careful not to block the small gap in the door. His EMF meter reads 11.4, way above baseline, the highest tonight. Breathing steady, Matthew asks, Marcus, I'm here. You're not alone. Can you see me? A cold wave passes through him. On the recorder, a whisper overlays Matthew's own voice. It's so dark. The temperature drops further, now 17 degrees. Matthew's, it put Alex in. Matthew's gloved hands shake, not just from cold, but from sudden oppressive sadness. Shadows crawl along the corner, though there's no light to cast them. Why can't you leave, Marcus? Matthew asks. A response. This time a pressure on Matthew's chest, like hands gently but insistently pushing him downward. For a moment, Matthew's vision blurs, then clears. The recorder picks up no sunlight. Never enough. Left behind. Matthew's headlamp dims. This is minute 5 to 7. The EMF meter climbs to 15, then 17. Whispers begin to multiply as if Marcus had become fragmented. Several voices, older, younger, wary, pleading, all interlace. Dark, cold, too many, forgotten, numbers, days. Matthew, dazed, starts to feel the urge to count aloud. He begins softly. 1, 2, 3. The compulsion grows. 4, 5, 6. The temperature at 12 degrees Fahrenheit. Minute 8 to 9. Suddenly, Matthew feels utterly alone, cut off from all awareness of the team. Even the radio cannot break through. Audio pickups outside register a harmonic hum, like voices reverberating off the walls at the edge of hearing. The headlamp sputters, plunging Matthew into near total darkness, only the glowing LED of his EMF meter visible. Matthew's voice weakens, shivering. Marcus, why are you still here? A chilling, sorrowful answer as if spoken right into Matthew's ear. You're me. I'm you. Days don't end. Stay with me a while. Matthew's body temperature begins to drop, feeling lethargic, heavy limbs. Minute 10. The team outside hears Matthew begin to whisper over and over. 84, 85, 86. In silence. A shockwave of cold suddenly radiates outward. The EMF meter spikes to 23. The temperature outside the cell drops to 5 degrees instantly. Matthew's headlamp flickers back on. He blinks, dazed, gasps, and suddenly regains awareness of who and where he is. He stumbles to the cell door. I need to get out, now. The team rushes forward, pulling him past the threshold and into the warmth of the corridor. Within seconds, the cold in the cell dissipates. Readings return to normal, and the dark presence lessens. There's more here, but anything, gentlemen? Very brave, Matzel. Very brave.
I mean, at least it wasn't like a true horror movie where, he was not there anymore or he was, but not quite alive. Again, going horror movie out there. At least that didn't happen.
Dude, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I kind of agree. There's more, but so yeah, it seems as if and Derek the Night Stalker called this out too. He's all, oh, we got to get a guy in there because Marcus is gonna possess, right? He's gonna move into the vessel or whatever Derek was saying. And I mean, so there's a spoiler alert. There's a happy ending here. So just nothing happens to our good friend Matzel. So just so everybody knows, on tenterhooks, Matzel, you're gonna be just fine. Yeah. So
Good stuff.
Good stuff. Thank you again for being a good sport, volunteering, and the role play and all the rest of it. I appreciate you very much. You're welcome to stay. We got about 10 minutes left, but there is a sort of an end of this. So if you want to stick around for that, I'll read it. But yeah, I mean, this is the type of stuff that's, like I said, the tropes of old. They do circle back. They do become all manner of things that are, like I said, worthy of discussion or not. That's up to you. That's not up to me. I mean, I talk about things that interest me, but I'm not the arbiter of truth, as I always say. So it is one of those things, right? But it certainly seems as if these archetypes, the tropes of old, the hero's journey, all the stuff we always talk about, it plays in this field. It plays in the paranormal space because these are stories we tell over and over and over again. Anything on that, James? And I'll get to the rest of the sort of after effects of this.
Well, if you notice there, the headlamp and the other devices, they did seem to be affected at one point by the presence that was there. And again, that is really common. And not just in cases where it's a negative experience or negative consciousness. It's just that in some cases either to cause activity or just, I don't know if energy is needed to stay around at a place, because again, I don't know how any of this works. But batteries will be drained, and sometimes things will happen. Paranormal activity will happen. Other times it won't, and there's just this draining, and that is the activity itself. And it can be of one device. It can be of many devices. It just really varies from time to time.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the thing that, like I said, if I go like do a thing, bring fresh batteries, and then like all the stuff dies, I'm like, nope, I'm out of here. I'm not hanging around. Look, like I said, hey, I look like a fierce warrior, but I'm a big chicken. I'm a man of science, but also, hell no, I ain't doing that either. Because like I said, the psychological effect is real. It's very real. And so that type of stuff, right? Like, did you get a hitchhiker or whatever? Like, this is the type of stuff that, whether any of that stuff is, like I said, let's go full materialist conceptually and just say none of this stuff is real whatsoever. It's all in our minds. Well, even so, you can gain an attachment that way, like through these, psychological aspects of all of this. So to me, like I said, it's incredibly important to recognize that maybe there's something happening here. And I agree with what Matsell said too, by the way. What's your take on that, James? He said that ghosts are probably something that we never dreamed of, like something like way different than our take on what they are. And I agree. I think that there's a lot of sort of fracturing of bad definitions of these sorts of things. What's your take on that? And then we'll wrap this up and give you the final tenterhook and give you what happened to Matsell.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that there's many different things that can cause what appears to be ghosts or spirits. And I think that it's like so much. I don't think there is one answer to anything. I think there's all kinds of answers. Yes, there's residual energy. Yes, there may be conscious spirits, souls, still in locations, either because they are trapped, and again, maybe they're trapped because they think they're trapped or they feel they're trapped, or they are and we have no idea how or why, or they're not trapped and they're just in a location because they have messages and or they just love the location and that is their version of an afterlife. But then you have time anomalies where people see not spirits but other people in other times that appear to be ghostly, transparent, translucent, all these things. So I think there's a lot of possibilities, and one of them is definitely something that we don't even know how to label yet, for sure.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that gets me is the label part. We've talked about it a lot, but just recognize that maybe we don't know how to label these things and think about what that looks like over the course of centuries or millennia. Okay, so the aftermath, here you go. So Matthew is shaken but unharmed, thanks to the protective ritual. Interesting. It kind of draws along with like what you did and kind of keeps it as part of the narrative, right? He remembers the entire ordeal, forced counting, overwhelming loneliness, the insistent cold, the fractured layers, voices of Marcus pleading not to be forgotten, desperate for presence, and the sensation of being invited to stay, not taken by force. EVP and video evidence confirm overlapping whispers, EMF spikes, and the time temperature plunges synced with Matthew's experiences. This is a textbook encounter with a consciousness trapped by suffering and repetition. Marcus's spirit, broken by 87 days of deprivation, seeks not to harm, but simply not to be alone. The urge to count, the compulsion to stay, hallmarks of a looping, trauma-bound intelligence rather than malicious intent. Your protection ritual held. The team guided Matthew out in time, but had he stayed or returned, deeper entanglement and a risk of psychic confusion or obsession could have occurred. The next steps, of course, for the investigation, as any investigation, you review the footage. Check out the audio and the video. We've gathered some of the most compelling, intelligent, haunting evidence to date and decide, do we release this to the public? Or do we sell it off to the Talamasca to be hidden in the dark archives to never be seen again? I just added that part. There you go. You faced maximum supernatural danger and survived, and Matzel's brave soul remains intact. Your team proved both bold and wise. And there you go. Like I said, I don't know. This has been a lot of fun for me. I hope it has been fun for you. And like I said, I know some disaster, some weird. So I figured out how to do this properly. So I won't bore you with the details, but we can do this. We can do this. And like I said, if you're into these ideas, I'm just trying to look into different show formats and make it not so repetitive, monotonous. So, leaning on you guys as heavily as I do, and, feeling like sometimes, you run out of things to say. So I'm going to keep thinking about different formats and ways we can do this. If you guys have ideas, I'm open to them. I want to, like I said, I want us to be, best is subjective. Like, it's already the best to me, but I want us to be the most interesting. I want us to be the most sort of cutting edge. I want us to be recognizing that the old ways are simply that, and the new ways could be more amazing than we ever dreamed. All we have to do is put the elbow grease into the creativity aspect, and lean into some of the systems that make things way easier. So yeah. Final thoughts, gentlemen, and let's GTFO. Shout out to our brave friend Matzel, who came out unscathed.
Yeah, that was amazing. And I like that it had a decent ending, happy ending overall, at least for Matzel, not so much for Marcus. But that is part of what all this is about. It should not be taken as fun and games. It's understandable to want to have experiences and to try to look into these things. But in the end, I think we should keep in mind the possibility that we are dealing with other people or other consciousness of people, and that should be respected. And, if we can help, then we should do it. But also, we have to be aware that we may not always be able to help in some cases as well, especially in haunting. So we don't know what's going on for sure.
Yeah, 100%. And as part of this too, like it kind of brings into the effect of, psychic archaeology. Like the question with archaeology is, do we have the capacity, like the moral capacity to dig up ancestors because we want to learn about them, right? I mean, these are still people. These are still, rest in peace. And in the same instance, in terms of psychological or metaphysical archaeology, should we? As always, right? It's some of those questions. Maybe these energies are best left alone. And this is a question that probably will never be answered. It's obviously rhetorical to the max, but it is something we should think about and consider when these ideas come up, And again, think about, Poltergeist. Again, it's a TV show, an old movie from the late 70s, early 80s. But one was in 1982 or something, 83. But they had an Indian burial ground that they built houses on and disturbed the eternal rest of these ancestral spirits. So I don't know. I think the question is a good one, and something we should think about when it comes to these ideas is how much meddling should we do, and how much should we leave well enough alone? It's definitely sits heavily on my mind. And again, mixed feelings on Indiana Jones being the grave robber that he is, sadly enough. Matzel, anything to add? Brave Matzel, who went in the tank for us. Appreciate you staying up late with us. Shout out to Lacey. If you're done, that's cool. Just want to give you a chance to say good night. And brave Matzel was like, send me in, guys. I'm your man.
Oh yeah, Thanks, guys. That was fun. I'm just joking around and having fun with you guys while playing. So I feel this is something that it gives intrigue and it makes it interactive for people that like this kind of stuff. So maybe either adding a show or doing like a Thursday night, choose your own adventure, and then do like a sci-fi one, a pirate one, right? Different themes.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we did this one because of the date, Halloween, All Hallows Eve, and all that stuff coming. But you're right, and that's the way I wanted to do it. The initial choice would have been 3 different narratives, but I just ran out of time as usual. Look, I got this. I get swamped at work because I'm the guy that does the work, right? And so when you're the guy that does the work, they're like, "I'll give it to Mike, he'll do it." But then I'm like I'm getting later and later and trying, getting home later and later, and it's encroaching on what the stuff that I want to do here. So, like I said, forgive me, I'm human, and I'm leaned on heavily at work because I feel like Cinderella with not with a dress but with shorts and shoes. But anyway, yeah, you're the best, brother. I appreciate you staying up late with us, and thanks for being a good sport and all the rest of it. And always a pleasure, my man.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe get together and put aside a bunch and brainstorm some ideas. It'd be a fire thing to do.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So +1.
I liked it.
Thank you. I did too. I had a good time, even with all the chaos and the tech stuff happening and whatever. I liked it too, and so hopefully everybody out there did as well. Like I said, I'll fix it in post, and so we'll kind of seam it together so it doesn't seem so ridiculous that we started over. But yeah, I think it was super cool. And thanks again for sharing your experiences with the Zach Baggins stuff and just all the rest of the stuff that you do know and understand and sharing wisdom with the world, which of course you can find, by the way, guys, templeoftheowl.com. Go follow Matzel, affectionately Matzel. It's Matthew in California, good friend for a long time. And go check out his podcast. Go check out the things he's working on. Like I said, let's support our friends because that's what this is all about. That's what it's always been about. And if you don't believe me, go back to the very beginning. This was a call-in show to meet people, to talk about wild ideas by dark of night. I could do 20 minutes by myself and then dip. I don't. Okay. This is about supporting our friends, the amazing people we meet as part of it. Matzel, you're the best. Templeoftheowl.com. Go check out his podcast, troubledminds.org/friends. Follow Matzel. Have a great night. Thanks for dipping in with us.
Thanks, guys. Good night.
You're the best. You know him, you love him. Matthew in California. Yeah. Format, James, when it's all said and done, yay or nay?
I think yay. At least, like I said, maybe once a week or once every other week. I think, especially maybe for nights when you are sort of rushed. I think like Matt Tal just said, there have something set aside where we can do this kind of a show, and have it not be so much work for you if you run out of time. I think that might be a good plan for that too. And thank you for letting me sit in as always. I don't know if I'll be as helpful on the other themed Choose Your Own Adventures later on, but it was fun to be part of sort of filling in some of the information and possibilities on this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to have you. We could mix in some space ghosts, so don't worry. We'll tailor to the audience here and to the expertise. I mean, for crying out loud, we have a paranormal expert, so why would we not do ghosts? We'll mix them in. We'll make it fun and interesting in a lot of different ways. And time travel's a fun one, and the space stuff's a fun one, and maybe cyberpunk. I don't know. There's tons of stuff. What steampunk? I don't know. lots of things here. And if you guys are into this format, like I said, and you want to sit in like James does, and it's more of your thing, let me know, and we can set something up. As usual, the whole point of this, as I keep saying, is to get together, support each other, and talk to people, and be cool and chill. Just be cool and chill. That's very simple. James, you're the best. Go follow him, please. SalsidoParanormal.com, SALSIDO Paranormal.com, troubledminds.org/friends. Go give him a follow. Go buy his books. Go check out his podcast, his radio show. Follow his Discord. You can sit in and listen when he's recording these shows live. But I'm telling you, 900 shows coming up, right, James? When is that? Did it already happen?
900 as of November 2nd. Is right. I'm at 83 right now.
900 shows as of November 2nd, right? Yeah, he's gonna pass Troubled Minds. We're like 1,100 or something. So it's a paranormal catalog. as I keep saying, like probably the largest in the world for true stories. Again, mileage may vary, but people telling their tales, their experiences, is being chronicled by none other than our paranormal expert, James Salcido. Give him a follow in all the places. Go listen to the podcast. Go hang out in his Discord. All the links will be in the description down below. As usual, troubledminds.org/friends, or just go directly to his website. You're the best, man. I appreciate you very much. The glue of the show. Like I said, it's more difficult for me if James is not here, like way difficult, because I'm putting things into the thing, and so yeah, we need to have a wingman for this type of show. So if you guys are into it, let me know. Always a pleasure, James. You're the best. We'll talk to you soon. You also have a great night.
Thank you. Great calls and great show. Thank you, everyone.
No, thank you. As we finish, help our friends. That's what it's about. Spread the word. Let people know a conversation's happening, but we're not going to tell you who to vote for. Like I avoid politics like the plague, just because it's so pervasive on our souls these days that I don't want to contribute to the division and the hatred and all the stuff. Let's talk about wild ideas and be creative together, and that's what Troubled Minds is. It's what it's become. It's what we should aspire to, in my opinion. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. If you want to help us directly, you know what to do. Not just spread the word. Troubledfans.com. You can find the hats, the shirts, all the stuff. If you want to support us directly, you can buy ad space on the shows and sponsor the show that way. There's all kinds of things you can do to help. And again, remember, old school word of mouth beats the algorithms every day. Just let people know. Something's happening out there that's not the same crap you hear every single day. That's that. What's up, Carla and Hanny? I see you over there. What's up? I missed anybody? Sorry about that. Puff, we got... I didn't really do shout-outs today. Sorry about that. I see you all in the chat. Thanks for hanging out, staying up late with us, bearing with the tech issues, and that's that. As we finish, you know the drill. We'll be back on Sunday night, God willing, and I'm going to do some work on this. Mix in some other ideas and some new technology that maybe we can have a real-time vote counter up on the screen or something. I mean, that would be super cool. You guys click the thing and it's like bing, 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 bing. Auto counts them. I mean, all that technology is there. So, I don't know. If you got ideas to be creative and be part of this, then you know where to find me. Shout out Bailey, Monochrome. How you doing? Welcome. All right. As we finish, it goes exactly like this. Be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our troubled minds to yours, have a great night. We'll see you Sunday, like I said.